Do you feel pain in your legs and you can't even imagine why? Even trying to walk more, doing your activities, taking care of your health, that pain in the legs insists on appearing. Sometimes it starts with a light weight, then it becomes a constant nuisance. And as much as you think you're doing everything right, it seems like there's something wrong inside your body, something you're not seeing, but it's there, every day, in your kitchen, more precisely, inside your refrigerator. And you know what's worse? They are precisely those foods that have always been on our plate, foods that we have learned to love, to trust. One of them, for example, was always present at breakfast, in the afternoon snack, even in that light meal at night. But today, I need to tell you something that perhaps no one has ever told you clearly. Some cheeses you consume are destroying the health of your legs. It's strong, I know, but it is necessary. Because after 50, our body changes. The way it reacts to certain foods also changes. And if we don't understand this, we start to pay the price. Pain that won't go away, feeling tired in the legs, difficulty walking, sleeping poorly because of swelling and even lack of balance. Sound familiar? Now imagine that the problem is not in your age, but in the cheese you put on the bread yesterday and the day before and the next too. Imagine discovering that a simple habit, repeated every day, is fueling the pain that prevents you from living freely. Today, I'm going to show you the 3 cheeses that most inflame your legs, weaken your muscles, and increase your aches and pains, even if you think they're healthy. And more. I will give you easy, affordable alternatives so you can continue to eat well, but without suffering. No bloat, no pain. You deserve to know that. Because living past 50 cannot be synonymous with pain. It can, and should, be a time of freedom, lightness, and true health. Stay with me until the end, because what you're going to discover here could be the turn your body has been waiting for years. And by understanding this, you not only relieve the pain, but regain your autonomy, that good feeling of getting out of bed lightly, of walking without discomfort, of trusting your body again. Many people have discovered this information here and started to change small habits, and the results appear quickly. So, if this type of content helps you, consider subscribing. This way, you continue to receive practical and accessible guidance to strengthen your health every day. Now let's get straight to the point. What are the cheeses that seem harmless, but are sabotaging the health of your legs without you realizing it? And the first on the list, and perhaps the most present in your daily life, is industrialized mozzarella cheese. It seems harmless. It appears in almost everything. On the weekend pizza, on the afternoon sandwich, on lasagna, on the omelet, on cheese bread. And precisely because it is so present, it goes unnoticed. But what few people know is that industrialized mozzarella, which is sold in large blocks in supermarkets or sliced in trays, carries a high content of sodium, preservatives, and saturated fats that, over time, directly contribute to joint inflammation. And this, for those over 50, turns into chronic pain, loss of mobility, and fatigue that drags on. Many believe that leg pain is something natural to aging. But what most people are unaware of is that food plays a central role in this. Your body is constantly fighting off minor inflammations. Over time, these inflammations accumulate, and what was a mild discomfort becomes a permanent discomfort. The chemical components present in these cheeses, which undergo intense processing to gain texture and durability, are not easily recognized by your body. And this generates overload, especially in the circulatory system and in the joints of the legs, where many report greater sensitivity. It's as if your body is trying to warn you, with every pain in your knee, every stab in your calf, that something inside isn't working well. And often, this alert is coming from your diet. Now imagine repeating this consumption day after day, for months, for years. It is a slow, silent, but highly destructive process. And the second type of cheese that deserves all your attention is the bag Parmesan. You know that grate that seems practical, which we use to finish a pasta dish, a soup, or even rice with vegetables? That's that. This type of cheese is ultra-processed, contains high concentrations of salt and aged fat, which means that it is even more inflammatory than mozzarella. But the big problem is the fact that it is disguised as healthy. Many people believe that because it is a strong cheese, it is good for bones, rich in calcium, good for digestion. But what almost no one observes is the absurd amount of additives that this type of product carries. Flavorings, stabilizers, antihumectants, all elements that make the product more palatable but highly harmful to the metabolism of those over 50. From this stage of life, your body becomes more sensitive to these stimuli. The metabolism slows down. The kidneys work more cautiously. The lymphatic system has more difficulty eliminating toxins. When you consume foods rich in sodium, such as industrialized grated Parmesan, you are directly contributing to fluid retention, which generates swelling in the legs, a feeling of heaviness when walking and joint pain that you feel especially at the end of the day. And the worst, many people associate it with age, when, in fact, it is just the reflection of a daily and apparently harmless consumption. And as the pain does not appear acutely, you get used to it. Keep pushing. Put a pillow between your legs, take a muscle relaxant from time to time, take a light walk to unlock. But nothing really solves it, because the root of the problem is still there, intact, being reinforced with each spoonful. And then we come to the third cheese on this list, one of the most consumed in Brazilian homes, the traditional cottage cheese. It is in the breakfast bread, on the evening toast, in the children's snack. And what almost no one knows is that the common cottage cheese, one of those in the jar, is one of the poorest cheeses nutritionally, and at the same time, more dangerous for the health of the joints. Contrary to what many imagine, it is not just milk and salt. It is composed of a mixture of processed vegetable fats, emulsifiers, and thickeners, all ingredients that, combined, generate silent inflammation in muscle and joint tissues. This directly affects your ability to move lightly and safely. After 50, the body begins to show more clearly the signs of accumulation of bad habits. And when you consume a food like traditional cottage cheese daily, you are delivering to your body a slow pump of poor quality fat. This type of fat not only contributes to the increase of bad cholesterol, but also settles in sensitive regions of the body, such as knees, ankles, and hips. Result: pain, stiffness, inflammation, and, little by little, loss of mobility. And then the falls begin. The stumbling blocks, that insecurity of walking in places with steps or unevenness. It all starts with a misguided diet. You don't have to exclude all cheese from your diet. Far from it. But you need to understand that some of them are taking you away from the health you deserve, and that there are alternatives. Replacing industrialized mozzarella with a fresh Minas cheese without salt already makes a huge difference. It's light, contains less sodium, is easier to digest, and doesn't overwhelm your circulatory system. Swapping out the bag Parmesan for a small portion of freshly grated Parmesan in moderation will drastically reduce your intake of toxins. And as for cottage cheese, you can replace it with natural cottage cheese or even a ricotta paste seasoned with natural herbs. These exchanges are not radical. They are conscious. And they make a difference. The point here is not to create panic or turn food into a villain. The point is to give your body the chance to regenerate, to function more lightly, to respond with more vitality to your daily life. Strategic eating after 50 is not about dieting. It's about making smart choices. Choices that reduce pain, increase energy, and prolong your autonomy. Choices that give you back the pleasure of walking without feeling hooked, of climbing a ladder without having to stop in the middle, of sleeping better because your legs don't throb at the end of the day. And this is where an essential point comes in, which often goes unnoticed. The body, even after 50, is still deeply receptive to change, but he needs a clear signal, a gesture from you that says, "I care." And this gesture starts with food. When you choose to replace inflammatory cheeses with lighter, more nutritious options, you're signaling to your body that it's time to take care, and it responds. That is why we now need to talk about the alternatives. It's no use just taking what is bad. You need to put in place something that regenerates, that helps your body work in your favor. And here's the good news. You don't have to give up the pleasure of eating. On the contrary, you can discover new, lighter, healthier flavors that don't weigh on your legs or your heart. And this is exactly the transition we are going to make now. Leave the terrain of sabotaging foods and enter the options that relieve, strengthen, and nourish. You may be wondering, but will changing some cheeses really make that much difference? The answer, with all responsibility, is yes. And I'll explain why. After 50, the body faces a series of hormonal, metabolic, and even muscular adjustments. Blood circulation is no longer the same as it was in youth. Cell regeneration happens at a slower pace. The lymphatic system has more difficulty eliminating waste, and the tendency to inflammation increases. That means that any food that overwhelms your body, especially your joints and leg vascular system, is going to have a much bigger impact than it would have 20 or 30 years ago. Now think with me. If you consume a cheese loaded with salt, saturated fat, and chemical additives, and you do it every day, you're fueling ongoing inflammation. It's telling your body, hold that in there and turn around. And the body holds on, as far as it can. But then he starts to complain, with pain, with heaviness, with swelling, with that feeling that his legs no longer have strength. This is not just age. This is an inflamed system asking for help. And this inflammation is silent, sneaky, starts small, but over time becomes a scenario of chronic pain. And who suffers is you, your walk, your freedom. Therefore, when you remove these cheeses from everyday life and make lighter, cleaner substitutions, you are acting directly on the cause of the pain. It's giving your body a chance to work in peace, without having to fight what you eat. And then comes the transformation. The pain decreases, the swelling goes away, walking improves. Many people report that just by stopping with certain cheeses and including substitutions such as cottage cheese or Minas Frescal, the difference is already noticeable in a few days. That's because these cheeses are lighter, have less salt, less saturated fat, and offer protein in a cleaner way, without inflaming. And it's not just in your legs that you feel this change. The improvement in eating reverberates throughout the body. You wake up with more energy, your intestine works better, your skin improves, and even your mood is balanced. After all, constant pain takes away anyone's peace. And strategic eating has this power. It not only relieves the body, it calms the mind. It brings back the feeling of control, that you are in charge of your health, even after the age of 50, 60, or 70. Now, an important detail. Many people, upon hearing all this, think that it is necessary to make a radical change. That needs to turn the routine upside down. But no. What really brings results is consistency. Simple changes, repeated frequently, one step at a time. Today you exchange mozzarella for Minas. Tomorrow, the cottage cheese for the ricotta. After a week, her legs feel lighter, firmer. This is the way. And there is one more crucial point that we cannot ignore. In addition to the cheeses themselves, what accompanies them also counts. Often, these cheeses are accompanied by white breads, sausages, ready-made sauces. All of this also contributes to inflammation. Therefore, when looking at food, look carefully at the whole. What kind of breakfast have you been making? What kind of snack have you put on the table? After 50, every choice matters, because it builds every day the health you will have tomorrow. The most beautiful thing about all of this is that your body wants to help you. It wants to work well. It wants to allow you to walk, climb stairs, dance, travel, play with your grandchildren. But he needs conditions for that. And these conditions start on the plate. So when you take away what's inflaming and replace foods that make you stronger, you're doing much more than just changing your diet. You're choosing a new lifestyle. A lifestyle that respects its limits, but does not accept pain as something inevitable. A lifestyle that understands that age brings wisdom, yes, but it also brings the responsibility to take care of yourself more. Many people arrive at this point in life with the feeling that pain is here to stay, that walking with difficulty is the new normal. But it doesn't have to be this way. The evidence is clear. Food has power. And when it is adjusted consciously, with respect for the body, with a focus on reducing inflammation, the results appear. Not magically, not overnight, but continuously, safely, lastingly. The important thing now is for you to know that you are not alone. Thousands of people are rediscovering a pain-free life precisely through this type of content. So stay here with me, because what comes next is even more important. Let's take another step together. A step that will deepen this path of recovery, strengthening, and freedom for your body. And that step starts with a change of tone. So far, we've talked about alerts, about danger, about foods that are silently harming your health. Now it's time to turn the key, to look at hope, at the real possibilities of transformation. Because your body isn't against you, it just needs the right tools to get back to working well. And that's the beauty of it all. You can change the course of your health with simple, conscious, and constant choices. It is at this moment that many people, perhaps like you now, feel a certain relief, a breather, as if a door had been opened. Because realizing that pain is not inevitable, that aging does not have to be accompanied by suffering, is something that changes everything. It changes the way you see yourself in the mirror, how you feel your own body, how you position yourself in front of life. So, now that we've talked about the cheeses that inflame your legs and the exchanges that relieve them, I want to invite you to reflect on something even deeper, the way you relate to your diet on a daily basis. Because what generates the most results is not only what you eat, but how you eat, with what intention, for what purpose. Eating is not just about nourishing the body, it's sending messages. When you choose light, nutrient-dense foods that respect your body's rhythm, you're telling your body, we're in this together, and the body responds. He responds with more willingness, with less pain, with more balance. He responds with more mental clarity, with calmer digestion, with less bloating at the end of the day. This is because everything is interconnected. The legs hurt, yes, but the pain does not start in the legs. It starts with food, habits, lifestyle. Therefore, every choice counts. And when you start to make these choices consciously, something magical happens. Pain loses space and autonomy returns. Now, let's talk about the emotional impact of this. Because it's not just physical. It's not just about walking better or sleeping without pain. It's about feeling confident again. It's about leaving the house without fear of tripping, without having to think twice about climbing a ladder. It's about taking the bus without insecurity, taking a walk in the late afternoon, playing with the grandchildren on the floor. This all depends on your legs, yes, but it depends even more on the way you feed those legs. Because muscles don't strengthen on their own, joints do not become inflamed by chance, circulation does not improve by miracle. All of this is built brick by brick with every meal you make. And here's something that needs to be said with affection, but also firmly. Don't wait for the pain to get worse to make changes. Don't wait for the fright, the fall, the trip to the doctor. Take care now, because the best time to take care of your body is when it's still warning you, not when it's already asking for help. And yes, sometimes it's hard. Sometimes it seems easier to keep everything as it is. But remember, the easiest path today may be the most painful tomorrow. Therefore, if you have come this far, it is because something inside you is already ready to change. And I'm here to walk with you, to show you that there is, yes, another way to live after 50. A lighter, more conscious, freer way. A way that respects your body, your pains, your needs. And all this starts, as we said, with food. So it's not just about cutting one cheese or another. It is about making room for foods that promote healing, energy, vitality. Foods that not only nourish, but protect. That help your body do what it already knows how to do, regenerate. And if you think it's too late to change, let me tell you something important. It's never too late to do it differently. The body has an impressive responsiveness. Even with decades of bad habits, he is able to respond, to adapt, to improve. And all he needs is consistency, of small changes made with intention. A lighter breakfast, a more conscious snack, a more balanced supper. You don't have to turn your life upside down. You just need to take one step, and then another, and then one more. Because every step counts. Each choice adds up. And when you realize it, that pain that seemed eternal no longer bothers you so much. That weight on the legs is no longer there. That tiredness that prevented you from doing what you liked starts to disappear. This is not magic. It is strategic food. It is health designed for your moment in life. It is knowledge applied on a daily basis. It is the result of those who understood that there is no eternal youth, but there is vitality that can and should be cultivated with care, with affection, with choices that make sense. And that goes for you, for me, for everyone who has decided not to accept pain as fate. Now, take a deep breath, look at yourself, and realize you are taking a step. He is learning, he is taking care of himself, he is positioning himself differently in relation to his health, and this is already a huge movement, because health does not start in the office. It starts in your kitchen, on your plate, in your daily decisions. So, stay here with me, because in what comes next, you'll discover what many still don't know, but that can completely transform the way you walk, sleep, and live after 50. And this is where we come into a decisive point: continuity. Because the biggest mistake of those who want to improve their health after 50 is to believe that a one-off change is enough. But the truth is that health, especially at this stage of life, is like a plantation. It needs to be taken care of every day, with attention, with affection, with firm and conscious choices. Replacing harmful cheeses with lighter options is just the beginning. And I'm not saying this to overwhelm you, but to empower you, because you now have knowledge. And knowledge transforms. When you know what's behind the pain, what causes the inflammation, what steals your energy, you have the power to change, to revert, to choose different. And this is a privilege that cannot be ignored. But to continue on this path, you need to stay focused, you need to keep learning, and above all, you need to surround yourself with content that supports this new lifestyle. Because the internet is full of information, but not all of it is reliable. Here, I have a commitment to you, to always bring responsible, reasoned, and, above all, applicable information in your daily life. No exaggerations, no fads, no miraculous promises. Just real health, built on what works and what respects your moment in life. So, if this content helped you in any way, I want to make you a sincere request. Subscribe here to the channel. Not only to support me, but to make sure that you continue to receive videos that make sense for your body, for your health, for your well-being. Here, each video is designed with a single objective: to help you live with more autonomy, more lightness, more quality. And look, you deserve it. After so many years of taking care of others, now it's time to take care of yourself. And since we're talking about caring, let me tell you, in the other videos on the channel, you'll find more precious tips. How to choose the best foods to strengthen bones. Which fruits help improve your memory. How to avoid the most common breakfast mistakes after 60. Everything explained clearly, with affection, with respect for his story and his journey. And the best, all based on the reality of those who live day to day like you, with limitations, yes, but with the desire to improve. With pain, perhaps, but with hope, and with strength, a lot of strength to change. Now tell me, did you already suspect that these cheeses were making you sick? Have you ever felt pain in your legs that seemed to have no explanation? Right here in the comments. I make a point of reading everything. And more than that, your experience can help others too. Because when we share, we create a support network. And health, my friend, is also about that. About not feeling alone. About knowing that there is someone on the other side of the screen who understands you, who has been through this, who is on the same path. Then write it down. Comment. Tell them if you already knew this information. And if you have any tips, share them too. The channel is ours. This space is yours, and every comment you leave here strengthens this beautiful community of people who, even after 50, chose to live healthier, more aware, and more free. And remember, it's not too late. It's never too late. Your body keeps listening to you, and every step you take, no matter how small it may seem, is a step toward a lighter, healthier, happier life. So keep going. Stay here with me. In the next videos, there will be much more, because taking care of your diet is not an obligation, it is an act of love. And love, after 50, only gets more